Hello everyone, and this is the top 5 worst episodes of the Fairly Oddparents Season 3. I promised you this as a separate video, so let's waste no time by getting to number 5. And that episode would be Snowbound. This episode really has no upside to it, and I'd say that the bad rating I gave this episode was really my most unpopular opinion of the season. I think the main problem is just Vicky herself. I don't think I was exactly clear on why I thought her inclusion was so awkward. To start, her inclusion in the episode isn't really explained. They try to mask this by at least explaining it with a joke, but it's still not a real explanation. And then there's this change of heart she suddenly has for all of 2 minutes, only to completely revert back to her original awful self. If you don't want to have character development, that's fine, but don't act like you might and then completely fake us out. At number 4 is the Crimson Chin meets Mighty Mom and Dino Dad. This whole episode seems very confused on what it wants to do with its time. Obviously, you have the whole list of superhero and Crimson Chin tropes, but the episode doesn't really play with those very much. I mean, just look at what the episode does with its time, and then realize that the title of the episode is not one of those things. And yeah, the episode is kind of boring too. There's a few conflicts going on, but due to the ease at which they're solved, none of them really have any weight. At number 3, we have Lovestruck. If you don't find stereotypes to be funny, you won't like this episode very much. That's the only joke they'd tell, and it's not like it's offensive or anything, but you just know what the joke will be every single time. And what makes this episode especially bad is that these jokes are basically what props up the plot. This plot is predicated on every member of each sex being exactly the same, which is not a premise I can buy, even in a dumb cartoon that's based on magic. And number 2 is Crime Wave. This episode leads you into believing that the two plots in it will converge at some point, but they never do. So what happens is that neither of them conclude in a satisfying way. And I feel as though the B-plot absolutely needed the extra explanation. It's just left kind of vague as to why the outside world can affect the comic book when no magic has been applied to it. And my worst episode of Season 3 is Engine Blocked. So we have car theft and obliviousness at said car theft in the same episode. We have Timmy's dad not knowing he's driving a stolen car, and Timmy not knowing he turned into a stolen car. And who gets the most punishment at the end? Certainly not Vicky. The owner of the car absolutely gets the most punishment in this episode, and we never find out who that is. So, that is my bottom 5 for Season 3, and it was honestly tough to come up with. Most of the bad episodes were of a similar quality, and the sheer number of them made it tough as well. So far, Season 3 has had the most bad episodes of any season. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.